My grandmother was 85. I will never forget. She lived down in the hollers of Virginia, and she was one of those strong Southern women, which is what kept her going as long as
Yep,
she did into her
yep.
90s. She's up on her ladder at 85, taking down the Christmas lights, in the spring. Like it didn't matter. She was going to do it. Nobody's going to tell her to do it. That's a little
Hmm.
extreme,
Hmm.
but you have to just use really good safety judgment.
Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network, heard across the USA with Dr. Shawn Weiss. And we are here talking about springing forward for senior safety, and primarily in the outdoors today. How many of us are out in the sunshine? We're out and about, and we may be tackling whether it's pruning rose bushes or pruning trees or anything like that, getting ready for summer. And there's a lot of things that we may not be thinking about outdoors. And so, Dr. Shawn, I guess what I'd really like to do is let's just talk about the outdoors. Oftentimes seniors have lived in a home for 50 years. And so they have, old growth gardens and old growth trees and things like that. But that can pose fall risks big time, can it not?
Right. Absolutely. And just like we were saying last segment, is everybody's in such a hurry. They want to get out. They want to get the sun on their face. They want to
Yes.
start doing things. It just makes you feel so good.
Mhm.
But if you have mobility issues, especially, so for instance, if you
Mhm.
use a walker on a regular basis and that's how you need to safely get around, this time of year, one of the biggest suggestions that I give people is a family member or a neighbor,
Yeah.
have them take a survey first, do a walk around the property. If you're wanting to get out and start trimming up some things, have somebody get out there first
Mhm.
before you do, because just the fact that you have an assistive device already puts you at a higher risk for falling,
Mhm.
coupled in with the uneven surfaces, the overgrowth, things lurking beneath the overgrowth that you didn't remember that there was a rock there underneath those leaves and you go falling down.
True.
These things are so, so critical. So I always say, ask for help first. Have somebody, hey, can you come over, do a quick walk around, make a list for me of like, what do I need to, know before
Great
I
idea.
venture out? And another thing is if you are living alone and you like to do these things for yourself, for instance, my 85, when my grandmother was 85, I will never forget, she lived down in the hollers of Virginia, and she was one of those strong Southern women, which is what kept her going as long as
Yep.
she did into her
Yep.
90s. She's up on her ladder at 85, taking down the Christmas lights, in the spring. Like it didn't matter. She was going to do it. Nobody's going to tell her to do it. That's a little
Hmm.
extreme,
Hmm.
but you have to just use really good safety judgment. So if you
Yeah.
live alone, and like I said, if you haven't been active during the winter, have somebody take a survey. Look at, do you have loose gravel? Is your driveway gravel or is it paved? Are there wet leaves? Some
Yeah.
people still have Christmas stuff up, right? Or they might have
I,
cords
I see it all the time
outside.
in my neighborhood, and they turn them on
I, oh Lord.
every night. Still, and
I
it's
was mad when I walked up my steps the other day. I'm like, why did my husband leave out the extension? Why is the extension cord still here? Like, there's nothing in
yeah,
it. Like, those little things, believe it or not, are really risky, especially if they're covered up with something else. So,
yeah,
ask for help with that. There also are some really great options on Amazon now for lightweight, ergonomic types of tools. I know you mentioned the last segment that you got a,
mhm.
a really great
Electric
electronic
pruning,
electric pruning
game
strippers. Well, they
changer,
have, yeah,
game
some
changer.
great holding stools and
Yes.
sturdy ones. Now, you have
Hmm.
to be careful. Don't get those ones that are so low, like you're going to be on your knees. Like, I don't
Right.
like
Yeah.
the knee ones for older adults, but they have ones that set up high
Yeah.
and they have a little thing that you can put all your
Hmm.
tools in so
Hmm.
that you can find where you're going, sit, do your work. They're
Hmm.
amazing. So they have
Hmm.
a huge variety on Amazon, as well as long handled tools. If you
Yes.
Google senior gardening tools, you can get those long handled, lightweight types of tools that will keep you from reaching and bending.
Right.
Um, Another thing for the outdoors is, you know, do you have steps or handrails? Maybe last summer you didn't need them. Maybe you had some health issues over the winter, or you took a spill, or you're still recovering. Can you exit your home as safely as you need to? You might want to look into changing the handrails or putting handrails or up on your exit
Amen.
steps.
And on that note too, with stairs outside, make sure that there's a either a non-slip um, sticker on there, or the other thing that just make sure they're washed off, because they can get slimy from a lot of. We're in the Northwest, so we get a lot of that film from rain and wet
Yes.
for a long time, and especially on a composite deck. Or
The composite decks, they're the rage and they are wonderful, but
Mhm.
they are very slippery.
Yeah,
They can
they
be very slippery. So that's an excellent point to keep those sprayed off or to solicit help, solicit
Yeah,
help for getting those things
yeah, yeah.
sprayed off. Something else about the outdoors, to keep you from, having an unnecessary wipeouts or trying to climb a ladder or grab a rake or something like that is, to make sure that you're taking breaks, that you're hydrated. If you do live alone and your assistant or your mom or grandmother's insistent on
Mhm.
doing these things themselves and you have worries, they should have a life alert, any type of life alert button, so
Mhm.
that if they do fall, they can get help. For instance, your illustration in the beginning, yeah, need something that you can call for help and not lay there for a couple of hours, God forbid if that happens. But those
Yeah.
life alerts are great when, I make my mom wear hers when she's outside just taking her walk around the yard in her walker. My dad's gone. Mom, you have your life alert on, right? Yes, I have it on. Super, super critical. Mom, just you having that is
Mhm.
gives such a peace of mind that if something does happen, she's going to get help quickly, and that's the key, is quickly.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there also are local volunteer groups, Suzanne, and I'm sure in your town or state,
Yep,
that come and help seniors clean up their yards
they
if you
do.
really do have a trouble.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really important with everything, is the fact that there are resources. And,
Mhm.
certainly there, seek out in your neighborhood. There's a lot of like low income senior type of programs, as well as you can reach out to, a lot of times just landscaping companies will have a senior discount or senior, service. And I know of a couple of situations where I've known of a senior that needed help, and we actually had a couple landscapers that actually donated their service and went in
Oh, that's amazing.
themselves. So there's a lot of opportunities out there if you can just put it out there. And
If you
certainly,
know anybody that has teenagers,
yes,
teenagers are great
yes,
resources for those types of things,
absolutely, absolutely.
and
And just
very affordable.
Yeah, and I certainly agree with you on that. And just remember though, if you're hiring, I'm just going to do an FYI. If you're hiring someone like a teenager or whatever, make sure that you are insured to have someone in your home, because what you don't want to have happen is an accident, and then somebody um try, if they're not licensed, bonded, and insured, it gets kind of funny. So in all
Yeah.
fairness, just
This
putting
is
it
true. Let's
out
put our
there.
disclaimer on there.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But also, just really being mindful of the fact that you're going outside. There's a lot of different things too. And I think one of the things that we have to look at is overgrown up above. I mean, I know that there's oftentimes, like, for example, gutters. They get clogged during the winter, and what happens is, and then water spills over. That can cause more slippery, more, clutter. I know that we invested in a pressure washer, and my husband probably twice, in the springtime, he pressure washes our entire outdoor patio and all through, the walkways and
Excellent.
everything, because we want to make sure that we are doing that. And then one other thing I'm going to throw into is, we found some great handrail options that are super easy. And we have a two-step from the deck down to the yard.
Hmm.
And just because I have some challenges with arthritis, we just don't take chances, right? So we invested in a nice little handrail that goes right on a post, and it's like a big U, and it helps you go up and down the stairs. And so that's really important as well.
Super important. And then watch out for those trees that have maybe broken limbs and branches from the winter
Yes.
that are kind of
Yes.
hanging there and they're about ready to come down. Don't necessarily try to get them down yourself. Have a family member or somebody come
Right.
take those down.
Yeah.
Because we had that happen at our house. I was looking at the tree and there's like 2 branches there that were from the winter. I'm like, wow, those are going to come down. I
Yeah.
don't want them to come down on me,
Yeah.
right? Certainly
Mm.
don't want them to come down on somebody else.
Yeah. Okay. Dr. Shawn and I will be right back right after this. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.